as mammals, we are interdependent. As embodied living little beings on this planet, we are interdependent. We are an intrinsic part of an ecosystem. And radical self-reliance is a trauma response and is traumatizing. We are not meant to be individual, separate little nodes that are completely self-sufficient and never need anything from anyone. That is a form of annihilation, and it's not life-affirming. We would never say to an infant who is born on the planet, okay, there's your body, go figure it out. I'm going to help you teach self-reliance. Like the baby would die. So when we think about an infant in a developmental stage, we can see that a baby arrives completely dependent on everyone around it to meet its needs. And then the degree to which that happens well is the degree to which we can see sort of what we might think of as healthy development. Like, does this little being, is it able to fulfill its potential? And so when we infuse this little baby with meeting its needs for attunement, for resonance, for co-regulation, obviously for food and affection and touch, and then when the needs are met, it can develop into its next stage, into its next stage, into its next stage, into its next stage. So think of yourself as an interdependent little being. And at this point in your life, you've reached lots of stages. Like you've had successful development in lots of ways. And as we develop more and more, we individuate. We can do more things for ourselves, right? Great. So parent-child dynamic, I am dependent on you to meet my needs. And when you don't meet my needs, it's really painful because I don't yet have the capacity to do that for myself. So then I go with a lack. I can't do it for myself. An adult to adult dynamic is different. An individuated adult working with another individuated adult in an ideal world can now work on things like mutuality, reciprocity. What would I like to do? What would I enjoy doing for you? What would you enjoy doing for me? Can we play together? Can we learn together? Can we live together? Where is it fun? Where isn't it? Where's there friction? Because there's also a lot of difference. And how does that serve our development? When we learn, you mentioned codependence, when we learn that other people are not trustworthy, are not safe, are not kind, are not generous, as children, when we're dependent on those systems, one of our adaptations is to become very attuned to what everybody else is needing. And the way we meet our needs for safety and connection is to meet everybody else's needs. The price of that is we forget about our own needs because it's coming from a place of lack and defensiveness and protectiveness. So we sort of abandon ourselves to try and keep peace out there so that we don't get exiled in whatever system we were in. That path of development, if we have codependent patterns, involves bringing yourself back online and not abandoning yourself so much. It means learning as an adult that my feelings, my needs, my desires, my longings also matter in this relationship. And so then I begin inviting other people to care for me in a way that maybe I haven't experienced before. I'm looking for the people who also can be in partnership. Now, the challenge with grown-ups is they all look like grown-ups on the outside, but very many of the grown-ups that we try to get that from, that mutuality and that reciprocity, they are stuck in their own unhealed wounds. And we're not really dealing with a grown-up. We're dealing with an entitled 5-year-old, or we're dealing with an angry little teenager. But we can't see that because we're looking at a grown-up body and we're projecting onto them healthy grown-up, but they are not. Okay? They are not. And we learn that as we say, "Oh, I'm sad." And then they go, "Oh, stop your crying." And we're like, "What? What is this?" That's not what I need. I need something else. Okay. As an adult, we now have enough consciousness and enough independence that we can say, "Oh, I see. I actually need empathy. I need more attunement. This person isn't able to give that to me, but I still need to go get it from someone." So then I begin sorting out who are the people who naturally, because they enjoy it, show up in a way that is a really good fit. I cry and they go, "Oh, let me give you a hug." And you go, "Oh, I feel so much better. Thank you." And their need for contribution is well met. My need for some empathy is well met. Both of us feel more energized. Now we're living in a life affirming interdependent system. But we need each other. I can't do that for myself. In the same way that I can't give myself a massage, I can't give myself heart surgery. I definitely cannot cut my own hair. Like, we need each other, right? Like, we all need somebody who helps us with the things. And the task here is not trying to get something from someone who has not developed that skill yet. So in this case, this other person perhaps has a place that they are functioning from that is not a good match for what you're needing. You have certain needs, I'm going to make them up, perhaps for consideration, for empathy, for mutuality, and whatever, when you try and get those needs met with this person, they show up potentially in a way that is more self-centered, more rigid, less available, more about them. And it's hard for that person to let you in. Your subjectivity feels more like a threat than an ad. That is good information. That tells you that what they need to learn next in their development is not what you are needing for your development.